Groups, how are you, mate?
Going well.
Mate, I suppose I'll just ask how glad are you that you've finally supposed to get to play a game in Perth, mate? I suppose it's been a bit of a weird lead up. How has that changed? I suppose you're having, I suppose, think you're playing one day and have it move back constantly. Has it been a bit of a strange one?
Yeah, it's been different, but the last 18 months has taught us a lot about fixtures and what they can look like and everything like that. Look, it hasn't been ideal, but the fact that we've got a game to play, had our run out there this morning. Stadium looks great. But in particular, we were lucky to get down to some club visits in the weeks. So the first club visit we had off, we went down and the game was postponed at that point. So it was hard to go down there and be telling a lot of fans who were pumped for the game that it wasn't on. And then we get to another one. We did another club visit a week later, and we got to tell the good news, right, that the game's on, it's locked in, it's definitely going to happen. And it's been really well received over here, and to have a game for the West, in a big fixture like this is awesome.
Can I ask? Obviously, you need no extra motivation playing for when you're playing for the Wallabies or playing at Bledisloe. But what do you want to get out of this match as a captain, given you've had two, I suppose, very different performances to start the year against the ABs?
We're on a complete performance, So Dave's spoken during the week around there's been some really good things that we've done on the field, but just not for long enough. And consistently in our games, particularly against these guys, giving away too much in a certain period, call it 10, 15-minute period where we compound errors and we take our foot off the gas, and that's hurt us significantly against these guys. So a complete performance and deliver throughout the 80.
Tate was pretty brutally honest this week when he said the defence last match was not the level of a tier one nation. Is that the sort of language that you guys were using in that review of last week? Was it that sort of brutally honest and that harsh with one another?
Yeah, we had to be. I mean, certainly about particular times in the game. Let's not forget there was a really good 45 minutes there. So it's not like we're starting from scratch. But no, I mean, it's a fair assessment in parts in the game. We were well below average, and that showed on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, it was too hard to get back.
When you look at the squad for this week, your big inclusions having Samu and Isaac Rudderback. Can you just touch on how they've sort of been in camp and what they bring to this side?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the positives of being in Perth for a while is these guys have had extra run-in. They've had a really good lead-up, plenty of time, longer time than we would have had to get around the systems, and get around the players. So, a good level of experience from both those players, two big bodies, if you forget how big both of those guys were, and a real great energy that they've brought into the squad to get around, and want to get on the field and play this game. I mean, they were both a part of the fixture here 2 years ago, so it was good memories from then.
So touch on those positives that I asked in the first two games. What in particular can you take from those games that you can sort of take forward for Sunday's game and also the rest of the Rugby Championship?
Look, there's some really good physicality in that start of that second game. We also, had the ability to allow Tate to have some good movement around the ruck and unlock his running game quite well. I think we were pretty aggressive around definitely the ruck zones of the game. More of that. We got to deliver around the ruck and have clean ball for our backs. There's a lot of firepower in the backs when we get the ball in their hands, and and then play smart rugby, play in the right areas of the field. So, looking at those things plus a couple others.
You just touched on those visits to the clubland. I know it's pretty obvious what the kids would get out of it, but as a squad and yourself, what do you get out of sort of going back to sort of grassroots and community rugby and giving back?
Well, it was fantastic in the sense that we haven't been able to do it a huge amount in the past 18 months. With COVID, sometimes you are quite confined to your own little circle and your own little bubble to and from training, and a lot of the games you can't even go and sign someone's jersey or something like that because it's off limits. So for us to get down to the club, and haven't played a game here in 2 years aside from some super fixtures, but even then, there was only a few here this year. It's just great, club rugby is really powerful over here, and it's great to get down to a club and, that from in all of Australia, I guess I can speak for, there's the same characters at each and every club. You know, from the older guys to the younger guys, and the kids are playing, you know, over in the corner playing some touch, no shoes on, and the sausage sizzle's going. So, you know, great vibe to go down there and actually connect with that, I guess, that club.
G'day Hoops, it's Justin Chadwick here. I just wanted to, you touched on playing in Perth a couple of years ago. In terms of just fond memories from that match, how much does that help going into this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, a completely different squad, and 2 years ago, I mean, that just seems like a lifetime ago, hey, with what the world was like in 2019 and running into a World Cup that year. But really positive. You know, we played a really strong performance and kept the foot on the gas in that game. You know, there was some big calls in that game. But, you know, the ability to stay on what we wanted to do that night was great. But fast forward 2 years, you know, we'll be looking to take that into the game, you know, continue to put the foot on the gas, deliver what we've spoken about, where we think we can do damage to New Zealand tomorrow.
And you touched on that you guys are after a complete performance. Are you pretty confident that if you can pull that off, that's good enough to beat the All Blacks?
Dave said this down in Auckland. I think it summed it up quite well. We play at our best or near our best. That forces New Zealand to play below their best. So, you know, whatever the scoreboard is after that, you know, you're pretty confident that it could be in your favour there. So, look, when we talk about a complete performance, you don't look for perfection. You're never going to get a perfection in any test match. You know, that's why people use the cliche, that's why it's a test, but you've got to stay in the fight. And, you know, you go toe-to-toe with a team like this where there's, you know, there's going to be things that don't work in your favour, but the ability to stay at, you know, our focus points is critical. And, you know, that's probably where we let slide in last game.
I guess a few people were keen to see Quade out there. Do you think is he any chance to stay on with the squad when you guys head over to Queensland, or is he heading back after this stint in Perth?
No, I think he's on the flight, but again, we haven't spoken too much past this, you know. So I'm sure Dave's going to speak more to that.
Thanks for that.
Michael, could I ask? Michael, could I ask? What do you think the big difference between the teams has been this series for you? And, you know, if you could put your finger on it, where that margin might be?
I think the New Zealand's been able to withstand pressure better, and then also relieve it better for themselves. So, you know, you look at that period in the second match where things are 6 points or 5 points in the balance. There's a couple of errors there made on our behalf, and they're able to turn that, even with 14 men on the field, into a real advantage for them. You know, and that we reviewed that to about a 12 or 13 minute block where, you know, the game was won and lost. So it's those sort of margins and the compounding errors and the ability to swing back momentum and get that sort of stuff is pretty critical. So, you know, they're a pretty refined machine in terms of delivering on what they need to. They've got some great athletes. No question, but so do we, and we got to stick at that stuff for longer.
Can I ask personally how you deal with defeat? Are you someone who can move on, you know, and rationalise it, and move on quite quickly, or do you stew over it, or like what does a defeat kind of look like, you know, in your mind?
No, it bloody hurts straight up. Yeah, that's for sure. And I think when you have a defeat, you want to get back on the park really quick, which has been tricky about this block because it seems like a long time since we've been able to get on the field and you know, turn things around. So that's been hard. You want to play and you want to back that up, but in the sense that, hey, when you know, after you've got to try and shake the hurt feeling and turn it into motivation. And I guess once the result's done, it is done. You can't change the past. So, okay, what can we focus on, you know, to turn things around and make it a win in our favour? And learning that there's plenty of opportunities and some good things. So taking the good things, moving on, and then the stuff that didn't go great, getting the learning opportunities there and staying strong with it.
Thank you.
Hoops, Rob Ballatini, the year that he's had at super level with the Brumbies and all that kind of thing, like, was really impressive there. Where do you think his game's at the moment compared to where he might have been even a year ago?
Yeah, physically he's starting to impose himself on the game. You know, we saw that with a couple of really great carries and some stuff off the ball that, you know, probably doesn't meet a lot or doesn't get paid much attention, but the stuff around the ruck and, you know, he's a big, strong man and loves asserting himself. And look, I tell you, you say from a year ago, I think his ability to have longer minutes in him has really been significant. So, you know, he's an 80-minute player. He can genuinely add for 80 minutes, which is great for us. That number 8 spot's really competitive. I mean, the whole back row's traditionally been very competitive, and you know, between him, Harry, Pete, there's plenty of guys there who can do a great job.
Oops, can I ask, as a guy who's played overseas, getting Samu back in the mix this week, if Rugby Australia's talking about changing the Giteau Law, if you could have Samu play for you every week, would you be in favour of that?
Oh, there's so many factors here, that we need to work on to get it right. So, look, I think the RA, the clubs, you know, we need to work on what's best for Australian rugby. So, look, I'm sure that a lot of discussions will be going on at the moment to try and get the balance right for that.
Happy online, guys? We go in the room. Perfect. Nick, Paddy.
Michael, you've mentioned playing 80 minutes. How tough is that to do against the All Blacks? But is it mental, physical? What are the elements that you need to improve to get that complete performance you speak of?
Yeah, I think we can do both better this week. Certainly there was some physical elements that, you know, I think we can improve on. Getting men around the ball, supporting both line breaks and our line breaks against, line breaks for. But then mentally, you know, we spoke about there's going to be times where momentum swings. You play a great team like New Zealand, they're going to get some plays and some things that start going in their favour. So wrestling that back and turning it back to us is really important, but hard to do against these fellas.
That was my next question. It's great to identify where you need to go, but how hard is it to implement against a team the calibre of the All Blacks?
Yeah, it is, and we've been training that. We've been putting ourselves under pressure at training to prepare for that. Yeah.
The Perth situation, the state, I think you've won your last 7 tests here. What is it about WA which resonates with the Wallabies?
Oh, look, we feel so well supported over here. The weather's been average since we've been here, but it looks like it's absolutely turning it on for us. Certainly today and tomorrow. So, you know, afternoon footy. Yeah, we can't wait to play. And like last time, you know, I have vivid memories of the game finishing and you know, songs being played and the fans just hanging around for a long time after the game. It was actually really special. So, you know, excited about that tomorrow.
So is it a travel factor for other teams coming, not only just going to the East Coast, but coming to the other side of Australia? Can you put your finger down to why you perform so well here in Perth?
No, I can't put the finger down to it. You know, like I said, there's probably many factors at play here, but you know, certainly for tomorrow, we're just pumped to play. We're pumped to be, you know, to be here for this amount of time and then finally get to show what we've been working on.
Justin Langer, the Australian cricket coach at training, did he engage with the players, or was it Dave? What did you get from it?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, I think in terms of players, what you get from it is seeing someone of that calibre, you know, in his position coming along to training. It's, you know, feels good about what we're doing here. And then, you know, I saw him having a lot of chats to our coaching staff and stuff like that. But he tells me he's an absolute expert on quarantines at the moment. He's done about 8 of them. So, you know, we'll probably pick up a few tips maybe for later in the year.
So tips with quarantine, but tips for actually anything that you can implement in terms of mindset. We know JL's big on the mindset, but is there anything that you can actually implement on field or preparation or recovery, anything like that?
I'm sure our coaches would have picked his brains. Hey, you know, we turned up and we had a training session to get on with. So as much as you'd love to spend as much time with a bloke like that, you know, we weren't able to. But our coaches certainly probably chewed his ear off. So we'll be silly not to try. Yeah.
Mate, just one basically. You were out there this morning. What's the surface like and what's the stadium like?
Yeah, I mean, stadium's imposing, you know, Coliseum type feel. So great to play there. You know, with it going to be loud tomorrow. Like I was saying earlier, good memory of it being loud. In terms of the deck, it's not as firm as I remember it a couple of years ago, but mate, it still looks great. And probably better for rugby. You know, a bit softer for the fall, so it's good.
I know you played at grounds that aren't rectangular in the past. Does it affect the way way you play? I mean, is it a distraction or for the kickers particularly, I guess?
Yeah, I hear for the kickers. You know, we've been playing at the SCG with the Waratahs for the last handful of years. Then your orientation around your kicking, you know, usually you have seats as, you know, quite close, so you sort of have a bit of a feel for that. This is, again, not my experience. Just what I hear. I'm not kicking. I'm not allowed to kick. Yeah, I mean, in terms of probably a forward, mate, you're still seeing the black jerseys in front of you, and they're just running just as hard. So, yeah, not huge for the forward pack probably.